there, Maureen here, founder of the Mindsight Academy, neuro coach to executives, leaders, entrepreneurs, and a neuro leadership trainer using insights from neuroscience to help you deliver results by learning to work smarter, be in control of your brain, manage yours and others' emotions, change behaviors, flourish, and exceed expectations. Welcome back to another episode of Lead to Excel podcast. I am so thrilled to be with you today because we have a special guest. But before we get into that, remember to subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to it, because it will help other people find it and give them the opportunity to understand how they can rewire their own brain to enable them achieve their goals. So without wasting any more time, grab your cup of coffee or your drink or whatever that might be. Put your feet up and listen in. So welcome back to another episode of Lead to Excel podcast. And I have with me today Elona Lopari. Elona, I met through a women's network actually, and we just connected. So I am absolutely excited to have you on with us today, Elona. So welcome to Lead to Excel podcast.
Yeah, I'm absolutely pleasure to be here. So thank you so much for an invitation and from really holding the space in your community and with your listeners to have me as your guest today. And my aim is to serve. So thanks so much for having me here.
Oh, it really is an honor, pleasure to have you. So Elona, could you tell us what you do? I know you live in New York. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, I'm actually based out of New York. Been here 25 years now. And I love New York. What I do is I'm a business marketing strategist. What I do is I help mission-driven service providers scale to 6 and 7 figures organically with proven marketing and sales strategies so they can scale to those levels and really build the mission that they feel called to serve without sacrificing income and impact. So that's what my mission is today. That's what, really makes me very passionate about helping today. But a little bit of my background, I just want to give a little background.
That'd be awesome.
Here. So I was a corporate dropout 5 years ago before I pivoted to my own business. I worked for a big corporation and I climbed the corporate ladder for many years, 13 years to be exact. And I was blessed. I always see that as a great experience that really gave me the skills and all the knowledge that I use in my own business and with my clients today. But I did a few roles there, marketing and sales, human resources. And then my latest role was executive leadership. But of course, there was a season to that, and there needed to be a time where I didn't see myself fulfilled there anymore. I didn't see myself growing. So I was looking around, didn't know what I needed to do. So I found the coaching industry and I started investing in a lot of self-development, trying to figure out my next step and realized that I've been coaching teams, building teams for many years. So I was very quick to adapt to the industry. I started executive coaching, career coaching, and now that I've been able to scale my own business to these levels, now I'm based as a business strategist because now I like to use my knowledge of involvement in my business to help other online entrepreneurs that are looking to build their business to those levels and really make an impact.
Oh, thank you so much. So you said that you were in the corporate and you then decided to leave. What was it specifically that made you restless or want to leave the corporate world?
In my current company that I was working for, there was a change in leadership. So the culture changed. There was less opportunities for growth. And there was a lot of things that did not align with me at that point. So that was one of the major things that sort of got me thinking that I needed to, look into something else. But after I pivoted from there, I did do executive coaching because I was so comfortable. That was my area of strength. I was an executive coach. I was working with women executives and coaching them in becoming better leaders and better performance, how to get more productivity of their teams and all of that. but again, I still felt that I needed to explore the big world where, other people were part of that. So I really felt this nudge of like just coming out of corporations and just coaching everyday people. So that's how I started with career professionals and mostly women, because I wanted to, to see what was out there. It was just my curious mind to really, see what else was out there because I've been in that environment so long. And like I said, I loved it and I still have corporate clients, but it's not my main focus of what I do today. So that's kind of how that transition worked.
That's interesting. So it looks like you've kind of pivoted quite a bit. So how did you find it? Because you went from being the executive coach and now you're helping people, really you're like a business strategist. So how was that transition, and how did you discover that because you've said that you found it wasn't right, it wasn't really where you wanted to be? What was it that what how did you discover that? I think that's the main question, because so many people are in situations like this where they're doing something, they know they want to do something else, or not sure, or just a lot buzzing in their head. What was it that made you understand that, okay, this is where I want to go, and it's now, basically?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and that's the biggest mystery of all, right? Because a lot of times, it's scary when you move out of your comfort zone, and I had to figure out that very fast. But I think I would attest my listening to my intuition to personal development. At that point, I had discovered a lot of great tools such as meditation. I had changed some lifestyle things in my personal life. I wanted to explore a more of a relaxed and a lifestyle where I was in charge of my time and all of that, rather than that corporate set, structured way. So I would attest that to my meditation practice. I would say for all these years, trying to figure out, what my limitations were, what are some of the things that were blocking me, and what is it that I needed to do, and really to get in tune with my inner strength and with my inner voice to figure out what that next step was, because I was feeling anxious. I was doing a lot of great work. I was successful, but I was anxious. So that means to me now that either I am is something new and it's out of fear, or I needed to go within and figure out why that wasn't something that was aligning with me. So through doing that, and it took some time, it's not like every overnight process. It took some time. Um,
How long?
a couple of months, I would say, but I did it. I transitioned slowly. I always do things slowly. I'm a step by step sort of person, maybe because I'm practical in my approach as well. So I still kept my, corporate clients and that. And then I started taking some other clients on the side to really to test and see, where I was going to fit, which one was going to make me more fulfilled. So that's how I started. And then, of course, wherever you put your energy, that's what the results you get, and that's the focus you get. And I really started really aligning with women mostly that I was working with to really help them in their professional careers. And we all know once we take care of one area of our life, it really trickles down to other areas as well. So I that's sort of how I did it. And the same thing with business strategy. After I have I collected a lot of wisdom and involvement, and I learned a lot about my own business and how to scale it to those levels and really apply my corporate experience of team building, structure, systems, all that good stuff that I know entrepreneurs don't want to hear because it's not the sexy language in the industry. We all want like clients fast and all of that, but without system, structure, foundation, you can't really scale to those levels. So then I pivoted again, and now slowly I have completely for a couple of years now transition to business strategy.
Awesome. No, that's amazing. I just love the way that you discover something that you want to do and go for it. Because a lot of times what people do is that they think about it so much and don't take action. But I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna probe a bit deeper, because you said one of the things that really made you know that it was time to pivot was you did meditation, and it was using your intuition. So, for someone listening, how how does that play out? How did that work for you? Because I know for different people it will be different things. But in your sense, how did you know that, okay, this is it, this is what I want to do? It's time to. I'm really talking now about going into business strategy, because we're going to come into what you really do there. So, what was it for you that made you realize that this is what I need to be doing?
Mm. Well, it's just exactly what you said. I'm an action taker. I don't sit too long in indecision. And I learned that just by managing my brain on top of learning about all these other spiritual tools that I needed so I can be spiritually fulfilled rather than just learn, and then act, because execute. I was used to that. I already had built those habits. So that's just it. Once I get a pull, I have maybe, I don't know if it's characterial as far as intuition, but I've always had this. Maybe working with people so many years also helps you sharpen, because you have to really learn how to communicate well with different personalities. You see, how to land with certain personalities and certain other people, right? So all of these skills, I think it's a buildup. So it's just that once I get an indication, I go for it. I don't let go of anything I've built. I'm not one of those throw the baby out with the bathwater. I am very practical. I'm like, I already know this. I have this now. Now let's see what else is there, because I'm always interested in growth. So for me, it's like once I learn something, I have to challenge myself with the next thing. But I do it very, very slowly. So that's the one thing. So I would say to people that are maybe, trying to figure out what their next step is to start with something small, whatever they can do, whether it's yoga, whether it's, meditation for 5 minutes, journaling. Journaling is such a great way that I have introduced in my life as well, to really like empty out my mind and empty out my thoughts, because there's a lot of junk that we hold in our mind. And we don't realize that there's so many things. Sometimes you're just stressed out by just all the thinking you're doing. So rather than doing that, just taking action, and just seeing where the next thing lands you. Really, it's just like one of those things, and really developing and growing my faith. I think that's the
Yeah.
other thing that I wasn't always, really sure how to do, but really just trusting myself and trusting that whatever's on the other side is always the best thing that's going to serve me, and really
Mm.
using my intuition for letting go of things that's not going to serve me. But the most important thing is to keep moving. For me, it's like
Yes, I like that.
should.
I like that. Keep moving. Because what really holds a lot of people back is that lack of movement, is that fear. And, I must commend you, because just being able to go for it is just amazing. So, can you tell us how you work with people now? Because you said, and how long have you moved into being a business strategist?
So it's going to be a couple of years now, as I mentioned, now that I've been able to scale my own business with lots of mentorship and lots of trial and error and lots of,
Mhm.
it's been a journey for sure, as it always will be. So now how I help them is with, if they usually come to me because they want to scale to the six figures. So I help mostly coaches, consultants, service providers.
So, if somebody wants to come to you, can someone who is just starting a new business come to you, or is it someone that has run the business for a few years and wants to scale to six figure? Who do you work with specifically?
Yep. So both parties. Someone that's just starting out, I place them in my program where we take the step-by-step approach in positioning them, clarifying their business model, their offers, and then helping them with the marketing and sales. And then someone that's been in the online world for a couple of years and is looking to scale to over 6 figures, I place them in my other program that really helps them with different strategies so they can scale to those levels. We're building a team, hiring people around them, and really scaling with systems and team at that level. Because up to 6 figures, you can solopreneur your way. But then if you want to scale higher, obviously you need to add new strategies and you need to add team to your company. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to scale to those levels. So to answer your question is two levels
Oh,
of entrepreneurs, the ones
okay.
that are just
Thank you.
starting out and the ones that are scaling.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. So when people come to work with you, let's kind of use someone who just wants to start a new business, not sure what to do, has a great idea, but not really, never run a business before, coming from the corporate world. How would you help someone like that? If you just talk us through the process.
Yeah, so first we clarify what is the business model and what exactly is their idea for their business and where is it that they stand in the market. A lot of times I'll uncover the stories, their personal life stories that they've gone through. What is that thing they feel most likely feel called to serve? What is a problem they have solved for themselves before? And really putting a name it to claim it uh, process oriented to how did they solve that problem for themselves, and then starting there. So once we have some clarity there, then we will go into adapting the message, going into what are the pain points they're solving, what are the results they're creating for their clients, and really adapting that to the current market that's happening right now, and then working on the rest of the process with as far as positioning them, what is their authentic power, what is their differentiator in the market, how are they going to find their own space in the market, how are they going to niche down, and all of that stuff. So but that's where everything starts, with that first process.
So, in terms of the program, how much do you do with them? So, are you taking them through things like the business planning and really going into the nitty gritty, or do you kind of give them the foundation to start? How does your program work?
So it's all personalized, but I have a framework. So, like I said, I have a framework that I take them step by step, that I've taken other clients that have gotten results, right? So it's a step by step process based on the phase of business they're in. If they're a newbie, then obviously they have to go through the beginning stages. So I take them through a structured framework. And then, of course, they go in and they personalize it to their own needs, and you know, uh, take action according to that and provide support on that other area as well. But I have a framework I take them through based on
Right.
I already know what works and what is worked for me and what is working in the market right now, as far as how
Right. Okay.
become successful and get sustainability and get some clients with their business models. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And when you work with people, if you just give me, what do you find to be the biggest challenge when you're working with, startups? What has been the greatest challenge? And just give us an example of how you've then helped someone overcome that.
Yeah, if they're at the beginning stage, the biggest challenge is really applying their learning, their knowledge, their skills, especially people that come from corporate. They have the curse of knowledge. They have a lot of skills, but a lot of times that's not what the market needs. And they're not very clear what their target market is and how to craft their own little space in the market. So that would be the biggest first challenge, in not really know, in trying to help everyone and not really know what direction they want to take. How to speak a clear message to attract their ideal clients, because they don't know who their ideal clients are yet, because they haven't had the experience of going through the process. So that would be the first challenge there. And then the next challenge is I work on high ticket business models, because I help them position themselves as the expert and the authority through my program. So the next challenge is self-worth, overcharging money for their programs, and bringing in qualified leads, people that are committed in wanting to work with them. So that would be the next challenge, really working with articulating the value, working with people in articulating the value and not really tying their own self-worth to their programs and having all this noise in their mind over who's going to pay for this, is too much money, and trying to go down to really cheaping themselves or lowering the price, or being a price leader rather than a value leader.
Actually, that is a big problem that that I find. So, how do you help people overcome that hurdle? Because it's a massive hurdle that a lot of people encounter.
Yeah, I think it's giving them the confidence that what they already have, it's amazing, and if they package it appropriately and correctly, and they start getting a couple of clients and get results, and always improve the structure of their programs, then they will also start seeing that they're giving clients' results. So once that happens, obviously your confidence boosts, and then you understand, and then you see that what you have is very valuable because now you've given other people results. So that would be the first thing that I help them with, structuring. A lot of people that come to me already have offers. Most people have online courses everywhere, and I don't. That's not my business model. I think online courses are just underpriced programs, coaching programs. But anyway, so really helping them with the structure of giving their clients results. Because once you are able to give results, then your brand also builds authentically, because now you have people that have got results from your program and they can tell other people about that and they can become your ambassadors. So that would be the first step. But really showing them a simple way to put all of that together usually is the first indicator that people could see the possibility of, like, oh, I can actually do that. And then seeing other people in the program that are doing that and are successful is another great self-esteem booster, because now they see that, okay, it's possible, it's being done. A lot of times when we haven't done something, we don't know what's possible. We just think, okay, I don't know, I might be the only one that can do that, right? But if you see other people doing it and are successful with it, then you start believing in it, and then you start taking action. So those would be some of the main things that I help them overcome, and really work on the mindset part a lot over, self-worth, and getting new tools in place so they can start to do some work with their thoughts and affirmations over their value and the value they're able to create in the marketplace for their clients.
So when you talk about mindset, how do you work with people to actually change your mindset like that? Which and let's just still focus on pricing. Where people are struggling to really increase their price or price correctly. How do you work with just a typical person on changing that mindset?
Well, I focus on the business, and then the mindset, the stuff that shows up, it's usually things I've already been through. So I'll teach on these things. So I'll combine
Right.
whatever I'm teaching with a mindset. And I already know what mindset hurdles they go into experience. So it's part of my teachings. And then if someone has a personal, question or whatever, obviously we coach on that. But I tied to the program, because I already know if
Right.
you're going to charge higher, these are the things you're going to come across. And, I've seen it so many times at this point that I can predict exactly what are the things that are, is going to come up for them. But I don't do mindset, work separately. It's part of the program. And while I'm taking them through the framework, this stuff always comes up, and I'll include it in my teaching just from having the experience of what they will encounter at that level of business and phase of business there.
Right. Okay. So when you're working with someone, for example, who then wants to scale, which is now the other side of the coin, how because I know you've mentioned that you do that it's online businesses, but then you said you don't work with people who do online courses, if I'm correct. So people that want to scale, who do you work with, and what does that look like?
So I have a lot of people with online courses that have followed that model because they've seen someone else do it, not because it's a model that serves them. So
Right.
there's a lot of people that come that think they need to put their knowledge together in an online course and not even have an audience for it yet, or not even understand how we're going to sell that, and put a very low ticket price tag, $100 on a course. Imagine how many courses you need to sell to meet your income goal of, I don't know, 5,000, let's say. You need to sell to 5,000 people, and they don't have an audience. So they're always launched into crickets. So, these are the
I
problems with
like that.
I have built courses that are just sitting there in my Kajabi platform because I did them according to what I thought I needed to do. We're just unpacking my knowledge without testing anything, without, talking to my ideal client, without asking and seeing what their problems were, or if they're going to pay for what I created. So now I help people create on the go, you already
What
have
does
the
that mean?
structure it.
What does that mean to create on the go?
Yeah. So start getting a couple of clients in, build the structure, and I have the framework that I help them with. Build the structure of what you like to teach as far as breaking it down. and then get a couple of clients in so that you can serve them, and do start with one-on-one. We always start with that when you're at the beginning level of business. And then through that, you start tweaking and incorporating and improving your process to give your clients better results. But you are not with pre-recording modules, because when you're taking one-on-one, people are paying for your presence there and your knowledge. And, so that would be the first thing that you serve them with. And then you build from there. I don't tell people go, record modules, worksheets, none of that. That comes after you have experience, after you have worked with people, and now you have a better idea over what are some of the added resources that I want to add with them. How many programs have we taken that we don't finish? Because they're just courses online and we're taking a framework. But what I found is people need accountability. They need personalized time, because they're at a certain phase in business and they need someone live that can say, okay, here's what I'm dealing with. How can I get to the next step? So that's all built in the program, making sure the accountability is there. Now, as far as people that are looking to scale to over 7 figures, at that level is mostly making sure my program is called Visionary Leader, making sure that we're working on the vision. We are emptying out, we're hiring team. We are tweaking a lot of systems. We're focusing on non-organic strategies as well, ads and all of that stuff as well, because you can't just continue to scale to those levels just organically. There's other tools that they can use. So I work with them on the vision, on really simplifying their day-to-day, adding team to their plate, adding leadership team to their teams, building the structure, the internal structure, and the solid corporate structure that they're looking to grow, and really seeing what components is it that they need to fit in each department so they can sustain that growth to that level.
So do you work, is it one-to-one, or do you do this in groups? How does it work?
So I offer private coaching and I offer group coaching. So I have two parts of my program for both stages of business.
Okay, so for example, because I think that's another important point you mentioned there in terms of people that want to build a leadership team. So if they're working with you on, assuming it's the private coaching, do you work with them through the process of recruitment, or how does that work? What would be a typical example of how you help them with that? Because they're going from them, solopreneur, to then recruiting. Is it a leadership team or a team? Just give us an example how that would work out.
Yeah, so in my program, I teach to hire right away. So they're already hiring under 6 figures. So they're hiring you to hire right away. So at that level, when they're at that level, as far as helping them develop their teams, I have already a lot of things that I have worked on as far as job descriptions of things that they would need. So they take lots of resources from my program, but also help them cater their own job descriptions and lining up their own positions for what they need to hire based on the needs of the scaling. So yes, that's all part of the strategy at that level. Learning how to hire, delegate, who to hire, what positions to create that make sense for their level of growth. And how increasing their leadership skills. How is it that they need to be better leaders? But now their role becomes not the one that's doing everything, but the role becomes about, working on strategy and working on higher level vision so that they can, have their team around them that is working on all these other components of the business.
So, because most of the time, I think my question, because I know we're coming to the end, but how do you, or have you come across leaders who you're trying to work with to become more strategic, but have really struggled to make that shift? And if you have, how did you help them get through that? And what was that like as well?
Yeah, well, every day as leaders, we're always we start as self-leadership. We start leading ourselves, right? And then we go from there. So they're always going to be the chokehold of their business. So I see it all day, every day. Even with myself, I work with my own mentor to take me out of that day-to-day, because once we get so attached to our business, we lose perspective in a lot of things, right? Because we're just in the business. So coming out of the business and working on that strategy, there's a lot of chokeholds, but really helping them see the bigger vision, work on the legacy. What are they trying to leave behind? And once you take people through that bigger vision and help them craft it for themselves, it's usually enough for them to see the possibility. And then now go back to look at your day to day. What do you need to do to plan for your quarter, for your year, right? To put in place all those things that you need so that you can achieve those goals at that level, right? So really taking them, moving them out of their present moment and taking them into their future or whatever they design for their vision for their company in the next year, because my programs are yearly. And really working backwards. So once you have what you're trying to achieve, working backwards to put the right strategies and systems in place so they can get to this, right? So always starting with the end in mind. And then the rest just becomes strategy. It becomes, frameworks, a lot of mindset shifts, but that's all built into the journey of, the proven methodology that they take, which is also personalized for what they're trying to build.
Okay, awesome, awesome. But have you found anyone that really struggled or resisted? I think resisted was probably the best way to actually be able to move into that strategic visionary kind of place.
The resistance is at the beginning over, investing in yourself and getting overwhelmed and having all the brain mumbo jumbo that tells you to stay in your security zone. But I think once, I take them to those levels and it's a step-by-step, that's my strategy. It's a step-by-step strategy. So they don't even realize that they've actually grown to that level. So it's like a very authentic, slow progression. It's not like in your face, now you have to be the leader, because that's scary for people.
So how long is the program?
I have yearly programs.
Okay, 12 months program. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I think we've come to the end now, and I've really enjoyed listening to you to see how you work with your framework and how you take people through. And I'm sure it's going to be really valuable to our listeners. So now that we're at the end, can you just give our listeners one great word of wisdom to really support them in what they're doing in terms of what you've done from your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you asked great questions. So it was a pleasure to be here. One word of wisdom, something that I always work on myself, is work on the bigger mission and vision. Without that, it's just going to be too hard. You're going to be very discouraged in the journey. So work on that vision and mission. And that's usually has a lot to do with how you're going to impact others. It's never about you. It's about the impact that you want to make with other people. And if that scares you, start small. My vision keeps clearing. Every day I take action. We don't have to know what the future holds. We just have to grow our faith and really put ourselves through the process and the journey, because through that, we understand what the next step will be. And now we know about other tools that we have available of intention, manifestation, all these other great things that help you. Once you are clear on your intention and what you're trying to do long term, it seems like, again, work with have the end in mind, and then the rest of your actions start to unfold slowly to get you there. But without, other people call it why, really understand your why, but for me, it's vision. It's always been like that. Have that vision in mind and never give up, always move forward. And, just convince yourself that this is your mission. Like I have convinced myself, this is my life's work. This is my mission. So therefore, when I feel like quitting, I'm like, oh my God, I can't let
it brings you back
down my mission. So it brings you back, it grounds you every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get tested daily. So
no, that's awesome. And that's really a great place to really end this. Focus on your vision and your mission and keep going back to it, keep reviewing it. When things get tough, go back to it, because that is what will sustain you through the difficult and challenging times, which you will encounter when you're running your business. So thank you so much for that, Elona. So where can people find you?
Yeah, so they can find me the best way. I throw my best content in my Facebook group. It's called Badass Mission Driven Entrepreneurs. So they can find me there. but I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn mainly. Those are the platforms I'm mostly present on as Elona Lopari, so they can always find me there.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm going to put the links in the description as well. You work with both men and women, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to clarify that. Lovely. So, yes, thank you so much once again. And it's been a pleasure having you on Lead to Excel podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for all the wisdom you've given us today. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maureen. Thanks for having me.
Okay, 3 things before we finish today. Have you subscribed to this podcast? If you haven't, make sure you click that subscribe button wherever you listen to this podcast, because once you subscribe, you will not miss an episode. And as usual, if you have a topic you would love me to speak about or bring a guest on, do let me know by leaving a review. Finally, do have a fantastic week. And remember that you are limitless. So I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Bye for now.